Welcome to Gadgets, a weekly video podcast from Gizmodo where we womansplain the latest in technology. I am your host, Michelle Earhart, Deputy Consumer Technology Editor, and joining me is my lovely co-host,
Florence Ion. I heard New York saying hello to me in your background, so I just want to say hi
Beep,
to the
beep. Yep,
city.
I
So,
record from the office, and it gives great views, mixed audio.
yes. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I am okay, Flo. It has been a busy week for me. What about you?
Well, it's been, I mean, look, if we're going to talk about how we're feeling, I'm going to tell everybody there's a heating pad on me right now, right behind. So let's just put it that way. We've got some meat suit issues happening this week. And apparently we're also having some financing issues with this metaverse facilitator behind
Mhm.
me. Now, normally I would move out of the way, but because of the meat suit issues that I mentioned, it's not going to be happening on today's show, but
It's a
we
good
are going to talk
transition.
about.
So this week we are going to talk about the Meta Quest 2. It's getting a $100 not price drop like you might expect at this point in its life cycle. It's getting a $100 price increase. So it's now on both models. It's now going from 299 to 399 and 499 to no 399 to 499. So that's fun. And then
That's so
Flo
fun.
has also gotten some technology from Logitech that she's going to go ahead
Oh,
and show
here, I'll
off.
give you a preview.
It's all very cute. It's very gadgets friendly.
Mhm,
And it lets
mhm.
us talk about this sort of trend about like trying to make gender inclusive gadgets, but also making them very stereotypical and sometimes expensive, and what that means and how we think about that. But before we get on to that, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll talk about the Meta Quest 2. And welcome back. So earlier this week, Meta, nay Facebook, uh, announced that it will be increasing the Oculus, or excuse me, Meta Quest
I know.
2's headset price. Up to this point, it's been selling at $299 for the 128 gigabyte model and $399 for the 256 gigabyte model. Pretty cheap for a virtual reality headset, to be honest. So cheap, in fact, that Meta has realized, hey, maybe we can charge a bit more for this thing, and it will now be charging $399 for the 128 gigabyte model and $499 for the 256 gigabyte model. There's a couple of thoughts about this. Number one being that, unfortunately, even with this, it still makes it one of the cheaper good
Yeah.
headsets you can buy.
Mhm.
Meta is trying its best to soothe customers like concerns by giving you Beat Saber for free with the
Cool.
Quest 2 from August to December with the price increase. Good game, maybe not $100 game. And also, you do have to redeem it within 14 days of buying your headset. So I hope you don't forget to do that.
Right?
Yep, that's a thing. Um, and also another point that's raised by this is there's either two or three arguments you can make. Number one is that Meta has been cutting down on its staff a lot and maybe
Mhm.
can't afford to sell things so cheap anymore. Number two is that $299 for a headset of this quality, it's clearly positioned as a loss leader of some point. They're not trying to sell this
Hmm.
hardware to make a profit, or at least they hadn't been in the past. They were
Yeah.
trying to get it, sell it to you to get it in your home. Whether that was to push the metaverse and its various, software platforms is one thing. Whether that was to price out competition is another thing. Our excellent writer Kyle Barr discussed this all in his article about the price
Mhm.
drop, which we will link to down below. And then the third point is maybe Meta's done it. Maybe they're raising the price because they feel like we have you now. We don't need to loss lead anymore. I feel like that's not the case, but what are your thoughts, Flo?
I'm just wondering, does this mean now that the Quest 2 that I have just honestly sitting inside of my living room like entertainment cabinet. Is that worth more now? Is this like housing prices? Like, does this mean I need to sell
Yeah,
before it falls back?
you've gained equity. I do feel bad for anyone who was selling a used Quest before this, because theoretically the idea is you knock a few bucks off when you sell
I
something used.
used.
But
Yeah.
mhm. But at this point, what do you knock a few bucks off 299 or off 399?
I'm also not sure. I guess, how do you convince people that something is worth $100 more after we've had this? I mean, I keep trying to call it the Oculus because I'm still so trained on that name.
Hmm.
But the Quest 2 was a big seller last holiday season. It was
Hmm.
between that being under the tree, or by the menorah, or it was the Nintendo Switch, right? So these two devices have sort of been the like family. This is just a thing you bring home into the family, right? Like these are just these little consoles that you could play around. And so we established that back during the holiday. How are you going to carry this over into the 2022 holiday season? I
I
I
feel
don't
like
know that this headset is worth 300, or excuse me, because I have the $300 version. I don't
mhm,
know if the headset is worth, oh, it would make it $500 actually.
yeah. Yeah, if the 300 one, no, yeah, because 300 one. Do you mean the 299 one or the
I
399 one?
the 399 one. Sorry. You
Okay.
see?
No,
I'm
see,
so
that's how they
confused
trick
by all of
you.
this. I know.
That's how they get you.
But I don't use it enough to justify that price versus I've mentioned on the show before that I have 2 Nintendo Switches, and, like, both of those have paid themselves off in terms of playtime
Mhm.
compared to this VR headset. So, like, where
Well,
this doesn't look good for the metaverse,
you're
Michelle.
going to use it in the metaverse, Flo. You're gonna use it with those weird little legless avatars that Zuck likes to pilot around in front of disaster scenarios.
The
But to me,
metaverse sorry, I wanna just add one more comment, is that the metaverse still feels like such a singular activity,
mhm,
and that gets harder to do unless, you're by yourself.
I say
In all
metaverse
sincerity.
in a completely sarcastic way here. I will be a 100% honest and do a hot take. Hot take alert. Part of me feels like this massive push to VR that Zuckerberg is pushing Facebook in the direction of
Right.
is to retroactively justify buying Oculus way back when, realize that gaming on VR was such a niche and expensive thing that it wasn't going
Mhm.
to pay off that purchase. So now he's sunk cost um, fallacying all over this and trying to make VR an incredibly mainstream thing with what was an affordable headset and a massive push to change the idea of what the internet is at all. I still am not sure I want to control a little character running around a hub just to go Google something. I think it's a lot more immediate to pull up a browser and just type something in. I don't need Microsoft Bob to be my Internet Explorer, but it's clearly something that they're pushing for. And whether or not it pays off, well, Meta has cut hiring by 30%.
Yeah.
That might have something to do with this price increase, but at the same time, for those people who are still gaming, they are also getting all the good VR exclusives. Resident Evil 4 VR has gotten such massive praise from even people I know who are skeptical of
Sounds
VR.
scary.
Uh, but it's a Meta exclusive.
I should probably try it since I do have this VR headset just sitting dormant. But again, as I said, it's very hard for me to carve out the time for VR because I have a kiddo that like needs my attention,
Mhm.
and the console experience is something that is much easier to share with another body.
Mhm.
It's not as easy to do that. And when I think about the metaverse, I think about the 2D worlds that I existed in
Mhm.
um, back in the early days of the internet. But back then, it was such a different. Not everybody was on the. It was a different time. Let's be
Well,
real. It's a
well, it's
different time.
like when Silicon Valley says, "Hey, we've invented this new sort of mass transport system." It's like what you've done is you've renamed a train or you've reinvented
Yeah.
what a bus is. I feel like all this push towards metaverse is just like, okay, do you not know what Gaia Online is? Do you not know what critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy 14
Yeah.
now with a free trial up to level 60, including award-winning expansion Heavensward. Sorry, that's the meme. Do you not know what that is? It's just like I feel like they are encountering a lot of problems in this that have already been solved in the video game space.
That's a really good point, Michelle. I guess you and I won't be hanging out in VR anytime soon. It looks like.
Mhm.
I think we'll just be
Well, I
continuing
mean, I
our.
don't have a VR headset. The PSVR 2 does interest me in a way because I still think of VR as a primarily gaming focused thing. And with this price increase, that might be what the Quest 2 ends
You
up
have
being
the
as
PS5,
well.
right? I
I
think you
do,
mentioned.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that might be a worthy. Yeah, that's why we ended up with the Quest because I don't have a console. We were primarily a PC
mhm,
family, and before this, we had the Oculus Rift back when it was
mhm.
called that. And again, it can only be played on a PC. So maybe we're the ones shooting ourselves in the foot here at
Maybe.
home for having a
Maybe
PC.
we're just too old at this point.
That's also a possibility. That is why I have a heat pad on my back. Okay. Meat suits as they get old require a little more care. I love
Well,
complaining about my muscles. Thank you, everyone.
the two of us old fogies will continue to watch for VR news as it drops and keep you updated. But right now, it seems like, the most popular VR headset in the world is raising its price as we move into fall, which is when people start shopping for holiday presents. Sort of puts a big question mark on the whole VR industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what I don't have a question mark about is some cute new peripherals. So maybe we should take a quick
Ooh.
break
That'll be a
and
nice come down from all of this doom
Mhm.
and gloom.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we will talk to you about Logitech's new Aurora line of cute, fun peripherals.
All right, first things first, to go with the wrist rest, we have the G715 wireless gaming keyboard that is see-through because of this green screen. But, I can actually take off the faceplate. Look at that. And now you can see it in all of its white glory. Um, it is a really nice keyboard in person. Michelle made a commentary earlier that it looked a little like a toy.
I just
And
think that at least seeing the picture behind you, the font is very big and bulbous, and it's got those rounded sort of Fisher Price edges to it.
absolutely, I would say that you are a little bit on the mark for that. There is a playfulness to this keyboard that you might not see on the other Logitech gaming keyboards. It is worth noting, by the way, this entire collection, it syncs with the Logitech G Hub software. So this is very specifically gaming peripherals. You're not going to find this on the business side of the Logitech site. This is all in like the gaming fun side. It's, for esports. I call them athletes, esports athletes, and anybody at home who is just likes to be in Elder Scrolls all day. I mean, I would love to do that myself. Fortunately, I don't have the time. So the keyboard is one sort of interesting facet of this. There's also the G713, and this is the faceplate that goes for that one. That one is the wired keyboard. And the cool thing about these faceplates is that on the back, let's see if I can show you this. There's these little screws right here, and they're
Hmm.
very strong magnets. And so you can essentially just pop the plate on, it'll secure in place. It's not weird and tedious the way that maybe like a DIY keyboard would be. So
Hmm.
it's nice to have that sort of customization option, but of
Are they
course, you can
swappable?
yes, they are swappable. So originally the keyboard comes with a white faceplate, and then you would buy this colored faceplate. The green screen is making it look weird, but this is a nice sort of coral
Hmm.
color. And then we have this green color, which will look see-through,
Okay.
that goes on the G715.
It reminds me
And
kind of the Logitech Pop keyboard that came out
oh
a little
God,
bit ago, which has a sort
yes.
of similar cutesy pastel aesthetic, but has these circular typewriter-esque keys to it. I know you reviewed that as well.
I was not a fan. And I will say that it's been very interesting typing on this keyboard for the last couple of days because they are brown switches. That's what they equipped me with. And the pop keyboard that they sent me also has brown switches. And they feel the same, just the same action, the same performance. I'm definitely feeling a lot of parity between those two models, but at least this one is standard keycaps. So I'm not having a hard time typing like I did with the pop keys with those
Hmm.
circular keycaps. If you do get a hankering to swap out the keycaps on your board, you could probably buy something off the internet like everybody else these days, or you can look at these see-through keycaps. And they're see-through because they're green. They match the green faceplate that I showed you earlier on the G715. And I'm going to be eventually I will swap these out. I don't know if I'm going to get to it this weekend, but definitely by the time I review this board, you will understand a little more of what the process is like customizing this particular keyboard. I do think Logitech wanted to add an element of like accessibility to folks who maybe don't have access to that DIY trend that's taking the internet by storm.
I was curious because a lot of this, and I know we want to talk about the mouse as well, but a lot of the sort of marketing for this line of products is saying it's being inclusive and it's being accessible. And I'm like, is it doing that in any way aside from aesthetics? And it sounds like the answer is yes, maybe.
Well, there is some things to consider with the headphones
Mm.
that I will explain when we get to it. But first, I did want to show you the G705. This is the mouse. And I wanted to show you how they wrap them. So they wrap them in this very cute Logitech tissue, which, by the way, same aesthetic they had going with the pop keys. The pop keys had their own special tissue design. It's the little touches. This is the mouse. I haven't set it up yet, but I will be testing it next week because I am going out of town. And so this is nice and travelable. You could just pop this into a bag and take it with you. So it'll be this is going to be next on my list of trying things out. Now, I would say the coup de grace of this entire lineup, and so far my favorite part of it, are these headphones. Okay. So the G735 headset. I'm gonna put it on so you can see what they look like on me, although I have other earbuds on. And when you turn these on, which I can't turn on because Windows will yell at me, and we're recording on Windows right now. They have these very beautiful lights that light up around the periphery. They and then on the inside you'll actually see, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it
The
really loud.
LNR. Love me some headset RGB. It's a more
Yes, but when you
popular
turn it
trend
on,
lately.
can you see the lights?
I
So it
can
shows you
see
how
the
much
lights.
battery you have from the
Okay.
lights inside of
Functional
the
headset
earbuds.
RGB.
It
I
sounds
appreciate
awful.
that because I've always thought headset
I'm
RGB was a little
still
bit
sort of
silly.
learning the ins and outs of this headset, but so far everything sounds really good. Oh, there are the lights. They're very pretty. These are removable cups, by the way, removable ear cushions. I will say that they've already picked up a lot of my makeup. So it's just
Okay.
kind of something to take into consideration because these headphones were designed to work specifically with different hairstyles. They're designed to not tug at your hair, which is a problem that I had with these particular Logitech. You can't see it because the green screen.
Love me a green
But
screen.
these are the G335s. I actually reviewed these as well. And so I'll put them in the show notes if you want to go check out the review at
I've had
gizmodo.com.
lots of
And
problems with headsets tugging at my hair. If you'll notice, I
mhm,
have long hair as well.
yeah. So you'll notice how this is kind of like circular. I noticed these little touches. So they tried to make this so you can wear it with like earrings, you can wear it with big hair or long hair. They made it a little smaller so that you don't have these giant earmuffs sort of taking over your head. And so far,
Hmm.
so good. But my favorite part of this, okay, this is not my favorite part, but this is also the detachable mic that comes with it. So if you do game and you yell at people, this is what it would look like.
Is it bendable?
It is bendy.
Okay, good.
Ish. Okay. Maybe not as
Just so long
bendable
as you can get it in front of your mouth.
yeah. This case that it comes with.
I'm
Okay. Oh, hold
sorry,
on.
Flo.
Hold on. It's a heart. You open it up. Okay. Let's see. So you open it up like a heart. Okay.
And it
Here's
spills
the
blood all over. No, I'm sorry.
here's the inside. So you would put the
Okay.
headphones here, and then on the inside here, there's this extra strap so you could wear it like a purse, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But what it also has is it has a special little compartment for the mouse, so you can carry the
Okay.
mouse and headphones wherever you
I was
go.
gonna say it looks a little large for a headset case, and I could see that getting annoying over time. The heart shape is cute, but I don't know if it's worth that. Also, it doesn't strictly look like a heart to me as much as it looks like the peach emoji, if you know what I'm talking about.
It looks like butts.
It look
It looks like butts.
So what are your thoughts on the headset? Do you find that it doesn't it picks up makeup, which is unfortunate given what it's designed for, but do you find it does avoid tugging at your hair?
Yes, so far so good. The sound is really good. The Bluetooth range has been great. I was walking around the house listening to Chill Hop. I really like the cohesiveness of this entire collection because obviously they're marketing it to a very specific type of person, aka
Mhm.
me. I do this is the part, Michelle, where I would love for you to come back in because I do want to
Hi.
talk about hi, I missed you. I do want to talk about the marketing of all this. It does feel like a giant piece of bait thrown.
It does. So there's I'm of two minds on this because I'm not as pastel as some other women, but I do like me some good pink gear now and then. I want to support all my femi friends, and there are plenty of femme gamers out there, and more power to them. I do think it can come across as a little manipulative and a little hollow when they push out this kind of gear and they market it as like, oh, we're being gender inclusive here and we're being accessible. And how much does this stuff cost, Flo? Compared
Yeah,
to
I'm
because I feel like
taking out my sheet.
I'm
It's
talking around a lot, but I've been personally paying attention to Razer's what is it, quartz like pink keyboards that it makes. And that always costs like 10% more than the black keyboards. And I always get mad because it looks so good and I want to buy it.
$200 for the G715 keyboard, which is a 10 keyless. That's about around the price of a 10 keyless gaming keyboard, at least in Logitech range. But when you compare it to the Logitech Pro keyboard, which is also a 10 keyless, that's a $130 board for gaming.
They're both mechanical.
That one's mechanical, and then they have the Logitech G915, which is a low profile gaming keyboard. One of my favorites. That
Mhm.
is between $200 and $230, depending where you find it on sale. So It's like around the same price, but it's not, because the G915, by the way, is a full size keyboard. You can buy it in a 10 keyless size, but this is not a full size keyboard. And then also, if you want to buy like the extra keycaps or you want to buy the faceplates, I don't have the pricing in front of me, but that's going to add to the cost. So
Mhm.
already you're spending $300 on gaming gear. Let's just round up. The headphones are $230 compared to other Logitech headphones. The Pro X headphones are 130. The G435s are $80. That's the entry level gaming headset. And then the G733s, I don't have the price in front of me, but I remember they're in the upper 100s, not quite 200. So
Mhm.
when you think about it from this perspective, okay, so I bought the headphones, but obviously I want to buy the cute ass heart case,
Mhm.
right? So that's going to cost you. I think this is. I don't want to misspeak.
The
So
heart
we
case
will put.
doesn't come with it.
No, the heart case is sold separately.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things to take into consideration with this particular lineup. If you want to buy into the full aesthetic, there's a charm that you can buy, by the way, that will secure your cable. There's some extra little bits that you can add to this collection to kind
Mhm.
of like really go on all in. But again, I believe the price breakdown was like around $600 for the full set, which
It's not people are gonna get mad, but just because I look at so much premium gaming gear, it's not terrible pricing compared to other premium gaming gear. But I feel like whenever I see these sort of pink keyboards, pink gaming chairs, kitty ear headsets, they're either the very, very cheapo stuff that you don't want, or they're extremely premium stuff, or they're
yeah,
just an offshoot of another product specifically that has a pink tax added to it.
like
I
Razer.
would like to see more stuff with this kind of aesthetic for just like fucking normal mid-range gamers, you know?
I gotta say, I did take Logitech to task on two things, which was A, they didn't make a desk mat for this collection. They only have a mouse pad. Now, the mouse
Mhm.
pad I have laying out right now because I want to keep it flat for when I get to the review and I don't want to like dirty it up or anything. But I don't plan on using it because I use a full desk mat. That's how I prefer to do my daily work here at the desk.
Mhm.
So I took them to task for that. I also asked them, this is so centered around women
Mhm.
in such a cis way. I'm like, are you going to maybe make this a little more non-binary, a little, because that's where the
That's the
inclusivity
other
starts.
thing.
And I really feel like it's the unfortunate part of capitalism is that whatever sells is what society tends to adopt. And so my thinking is if you're a big brand, you would do a
Mhm.
really big favor to society if you could market to the way society wants to be marketed to.
I
And
like
I
the
feel like,
green
yeah,
faceplate. I feel like that helps. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, not
Um
at all.
I like the green faceplate. I feel like that helps, but the unfortunate thing is this kind of gear is still the exception. And so much of just like default gaming gear is like this extreme Mountain Dew Monster Energy drink, green and black, marketed in a very stereotypical masculine way. That it's nice to get exceptions like that, but it also means that like if you don't like the way that Logitech is doing this, let's break away from that Mountain Dew aesthetic thing. You're just kind of screwed. You either have to go extreme black and green, or you have to go extreme pink and pastel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I will say some of the marketing for this Aurora collection, it's not all extreme femme,
Mhm.
which I appreciate
I
to
saw
an
that,
as much as you can
yeah.
appreciate a brand, okay?
But the gear itself still
Yeah,
seems like it is a little bit, and obviously gender is a very personal thing.
yes.
You can be a femme non-binary person or whatever, but more options mean more presentation styles are available. Making a pink gaming keyboard in itself, fine. But making that and saying this is our gender inclusive option, it's like, what does that mean? It only appeals to one way of doing gender, you know?
Exactly, and it still is associating gender with colors, with the color
Mhm.
palette, which is like, why do we keep doing that? Pinks and purples are not this is such an elementary part of society that we are
Mhm.
still going toe to toe on, which is doesn't make any sense to me in 2022 after all the conversations we've been having. But at the very least, I guess, we have a little more options for people who just want to buy things off the shelf. I do see this selling really well, like over the holiday season.
Mhm.
Imagine a young gamer girl
It's
trapped in the
so
suburbs.
gift friendly, actually, now that I
Yeah.
think about it, because it's a whole line that sort of melds together in an aesthetic, and it comes with that bag. I can see that.
Yeah, it reminds me of the early millennium marketing to girls tech. It was very like
Mhm.
stark pink and purple. And I've actually kind of been on some eBay searches lately, just looking for some of that because I love to see this resurgence, and I can see that that's where that design got some of its inspiration from in
Mhm.
this in this manifestation, but the conversation needs to be elevated a little further. Brands, help us.
Between pink and black, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, if
just
your girl
elevate it.
get it reminds me of I grew up in Indiana, and I hate to say it, I walked Walmart and I saw the pink guns that you can buy, Flo, and it reminds me of that. Here's your boy toy option for the McDonald's kids meal, and here's your girl toy one. And I love that we're getting a pastel keyboard. It personally appeals to me. I know it appeals to you, but boy toy and girl toy isn't gonna cut it in 2022, I think.
Oh. Just make toys for everyone,
Yeah.
okay? Like this Tamagotchi that, by the way, I don't know if the mic picked it up, but it's been dying this entire time we were doing this podcast, so
Oh,
I feel like
no.
we should probably end it here before my Tamagotchi officially dies, Michelle.
Yep. So let's do our outro, and then Flo can go feed her Tamagotchi. So thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Gadgets, everyone. We publish every week. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can find us at gadgets at gizmodo.com. Flo, where can people find you online?
Come to my vanity URL, flowrights.tech. That gives you all my bylines over at gizmodo.com.
And you can find me at michelleearhart.com with a hyphen in between Michelle and Earhart. We want to thank our lovely editor, Artem Golub, for making us look and sound great. And we want to thank our artist, Vicky Lita, for our great gadgets branding. Until next time, everyone, we will see you. Keep safe, keep happy, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.